Just get your thing done.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay,
Up to you guys.
I'm pretty close to being done on my budget, but something I wanted to ask before I even budgeted for was I would like to hire an employee. I just want to know if that would be suitable or, you know, something I can be able to budget for.
Full-time?
Yes. The recycling has increased, that where when I go get a trailer every morning, there's more usage to it, yet the more usage, the bigger the mess. By the time I get a trailer unloaded and sorted, most times I don't have time when I get back to, after I've filled several boxes in the building, you ain't got time to stack all them and replace them with empty and stuff. People come in throughout the day. If there's a box
Their
full,
crap down, don't
they'll
they?
pile it right on in front of the,
Recycling. On their
well,
lot.
and yes, and there's a lot of, not a lot, but there's several items that can be recycled, yet hardbacks, I've quit taking plastic bags and stuff. Because
I know that, but bags, can you still recycle them?
you can, but they've got to go to Great Bend, so I've got a whole wall full of them.
So I could take mine to Great Bend and get rid of them?
You can, but
Well,
I used to have a box
Hey,
down
Dylan's
there.
here takes them too, I found that.
Where?
Over here, Dylan's, I've seen a deal of paper set on the back of the, no, on the bag itself, it says, return it to your local Dylan
Ours?
store. So I had Rotary call, and she said, yeah, we can take them over here.
All right.
And you give it to them, but at Great Bend, most people take them to Great Bend, but I
I think
found
I'll just
that out.
take mine to Great Bend.
Because I used to take them down there, and then I've got about 15 of them sitting there waiting. I just didn't have time to load them up, take them to Great Bend.
So you'll have it available then if we get.
Yeah,
on top.
yeah, I'd have, you know, there's more stuff available to recycle. They can go to Great Bend versus where Pratt & accept.
It's kind of hard, like I say, every time I go down there, it's to not find somebody in there, you know, unloading something. It's a lot more than people just use.
Well, if
I'm
nothing
glad they
else,
are.
even maybe on a, you know, on a slow day, you could have somebody there helping unload and make sure that stuff gets put in the proper place. The worst thing is on plastics. We have, I mean, 3s, 5s, 7s, 6s. They have to be sorted. And Pratt's been complaining because there's, I mean, once somebody comes in and dumps a tub full, and they dump a tub full, you basically about got to dig to the bottom to get it all out. You know, there's a lot of, I've got a lot of service work, some repair work to do that I haven't had time to do. You know, that I've got some loader work I need to do, but you know, man, when you come in the morning and you spend a full morning doing some repair work or service work, then you get behind on your recycling. You know, when or you know, a couple of years ago, you know, I had time to get in, get a trailer, get it dumped, get it back. Now, if you know, when you come in, it takes 3 times as long to dump a trailer as it should because it's all mixed.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
can see that.
I mean, you can't just open that back door and let it all flood. They've got a slope floor. You gotta open it, dump a little bit, shut it.
So,
Dig it out, sort it
I know,
out.
I've seen this, but I see.
You know,
problems.
and there's, at the landfill, there's with KDHE being so stringent on regulations and stuff, there's a lot more record keeping going on. And that's something somebody else needs to know too. I mean, if I was to up and leave, die, whatever, there's a lot of stuff somebody needs to know on the record keeping, the tonnage law, and the stormwater pollution prevention plan that they've implemented, which was required. You got to record rainfall. You got to do inspections after each and every rain. You got to log all that.
Don't work too hard on that lady, have you?
No, not too hard. No. I've had to pump the pit twice, but that's it. And, I mean, there's just you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You know, I mean, if something was to happen to me or leave, and somebody's coming, place going to come in blind.
So you're asking for a full-time employee
Yeah.
with full benefits. And you think we can justify that?
Yes. And also he would have a Class A CDL, which if Philip would go for that, they've got 2 trucks down there, instead of having to pull somebody from the road department. He could just grab the extra truck, hook on and go when we need it. Wouldn't have to pull somebody out in his department. and it would alleviate the problem of finding a replacement.
Yeah, I know, it seems like every year you have a problem, you're ready to go somewhere, take a day off, you don't have anybody want to fill in or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Vacation, sick days.
Full-time then?
No, I meant on him, when he had to go, when he goes on vacation or takes a day off, then we gotta scramble to find somebody to
Yeah.
either that or close it, and it doesn't keep people happy.
That's very hard to find somebody that, can run a loader and would have the time on a drop of a hat notice, basically. And there's pretty much, you're down to ex-county employees that have retired, and some of them are having health issues at times. There a while back when, George was having health issues, or I went to Gene and he was okay with it, but now he's in very bad. That's just
Well,
something
I
I
would
was
say-
wanting
I mean, what level are you planning on starting at? I mean, what do you have in mind, what level are we looking at? And that'd be, depending on what kind of pay too, but
to. Yeah.
you got some entry level thing to start at or something, or?
Well, what I was looking at, and the guy that helps me now and is going, he would be willing to transfer, I guess, if he could.
Who you got help him?
Jerry, that's from the Road and Bridge Department.
Oh.
I mean, he's certified for HHW, he fills in for me when I'm gone.
So you mean just take one off the road and bridge part, move over there?
Yep.
So is it gonna leave him short on the road and bridge department then, but, I mean, we're off one to pay the other one.
I don't know, I don't know,
But,
I'm having a little trouble sorting this out in my head. I don't know enough about what's going on in both departments to do something like that, take one from Road and Bridge and give it to you. And we definitely need to talk to Philip.
Well, you could go ahead and budget for it, and
Yeah.
if you
yeah,
decide you
I'd
don't
go
want
ahead
it,
and
you
budget
can
and
cut
see
it.
what we can work out. And maybe
That's a
even,
good-
if I'm working a part-time job for now, start out with just
Percent,
55
whatever it
until we
wants
get,
to, but
then
if
go
you
full-time or
cut
something.
it out.
But I can see your, I mean,
Well, I need
you're
some
going
time to
down there,
think
you-
about it before we make a
and it takes more time to deal with all that stuff, and the more you get in, it takes more time to get that sorted. I mean, it's a job
Well,
sorting.
yeah, but if we're gonna pay somebody $50,000 to sort plastic bags,
No, no.
maybe we better evaluate that.
That's what I'm saying, we need to find somebody, somebody's gonna do that.
Always, right?
Yeah.
50? I'll do it.
By the time you pay the employees' benefits and all of that stuff, it's gonna cost the
Yeah,
county
it's gonna be
$50,000 or more.
But it is encouraging that people are recycling.
Yeah.
It's
So,
always.
But
busy
I'm
on
just
that.
want to ask what type of entry level you're looking at. I don't want to, if we're gonna have somebody already up there on the top scales, if we can find somebody on a lower scale and bring him in and possibly train him, so he's better, I think better fit himself. We,
well, put it in your budget.
Okay, that's, it's one of those ones, that was a possibility.
Okay.
All right,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
Of course. We
Sorry,
got-
that's running more than 5 minutes.
That's all right, I'll let you go this time.
Okay.
Let it happen again.
I just wanted to, looking at my budget for 2013, and the big ticket item on it is to replace our copier. I don't have a quote, they were supposed to get me a quote, and they've never produced it. So that's what he gave me off the top of his head down here on Capitol Hill. Everything else is the same, except I did do a 3% COLA just to be optimistic. I didn't know if anybody else was doing that.
You can always
Yeah.
ask.
You can always ask.
That's right.
That's right. You can always be told no, which is fine.
Seems like this is the year for copiers.
Well, ours is 8 years old, and he said 7. And we've been having some issues. You got my old one?
Yeah.
Still working good?
Got it in my budget too.
Do you?
No goodie.
It works okay. but
We just have a semi truck come in full of copiers.
We just got issues with it. ticket item. Anything else to say?
Good.
And it may not be that much, you know. That's a color copier. I think it's about what Lisa's was last week, wasn't it? She got a big one?
She got
We
the
do all
smaller
ours.
side.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna get a big one.
Well, she got a medium.
Right, well,
Right.
around
We do a lot
8,000.
of,
She downsized a little from what she had.
Yeah, but
She
it's
had-
right around 8,000 one.
WIC takes a lot of copying. Maybe if you put it in color, they'll actually read it. Yeah, that's around it on it. A lot of them sleep on the chairs in the lobby.
No, it was in that other stuff she gave us, wasn't it?
The smaller machines.
Building in good shape, or fairly good shape, or
I have no complaints.
mediocre shape, or
Yeah.
the doors closed and
The
there's
doors
no
are
wind blowing.
wonderful.
That's nice, that door,
Oh,
it
those
is.
doors are wonderful.
Below
It is
that,
nice door, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
some doors.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna spend money
She's
on
in the
to
ball.
purchase.
Well, plus you're ADA compliant too with them.
Yes, I am.
Oh, which is
I don't
great.
have to wash the dust off the back table every day because we have these doors. Just blow in there.
Whooping cough epidemic in the Northeast. We vaccinate for whooping cough, right?
We sure do. We encourage everybody.
So those people out there did.
Apparently somebody brought it back and there's a lot of unimmunized people up there. We have some here too. But you can't force them. Still America.
Yeah.
I have no questions.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have a law?
No. How much time do I have? I'll be quick.
You have
Yeah, 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Oh, out there.
Real quick. Okay, just a little bit, we had a Numana, which is a kind of an organization that packages food. We did that at the fire station this weekend. Well, they did, and we just provided the facility, but it's a very successful event, very organized. They package the equivalent of 20,000 meals in just a short 2 morning time.
I was out there, but I think that's just many people couldn't find a place to eat.
Oh, it's over,
great.
a little over 100 people showed up.
It was fun.
So,
Was you out there?
Yeah.
had a wildland fire, it's really dry out there. You know, wind's been really terrible. We got a couple state visits, they're just coming out to, one, they're coming out to check a couple pieces of equipment that we have, it's there, they'll just come out and check it out. And then we have the follow-up to the reimbursements associated with the tornado. These are just federal, governmental ones, so it'd be townships and city of St. John. And then I did get the statistics from the emergency management, and I actually posted those, so that might cause some, there's some real inadequacies, they really need to address that. The way they distribute emergency management funds, the ones that we finally got for $5,900. I'll get you a printout, you can take a look at it and see the.
Are you stirring the bottle in there, are
I'm
you?
starting it a little bit.
Well, thanks for the warning.
And then the only other thing, Stafford has been looking, the city of Stafford has been looking at their fire station to expand it. From a fire perspective in county, we need to be able to actually put trucks where there's firefighters. And that's, one of our strongest places. And that's why the rescue truck was put there, because they have the strongest response of any station or any station in the county. Preferably it'd be right in the center, but we don't have the response from here. But anyhow, they have looked several times, they've talked to me, they've talked to their council about adding on to their stations. The problem with their station is it's very, very narrow, and so they have to kind of put their trucks in like angles and stuff, and it's not a drive-through, which would be nice if it was. But what they'd like to do is just to extend it out a little bit so they can stack them and get 2 of them in without putting them on angles. The reason I bring it up to you guys is it's really for county space. It's not for city trucks. None of these trucks are city trucks that they're talking about making more space for. They only need an engine. They actually need 2 stalls, which that on the north, or on the south side of their station, well, they have it. I mean, they have all space in the world for their trucks. They really don't. That space that they're talking about expanding is really for county trucks.
So they own the building.
Pardon?
The city of Stafford owns the building, and they're just leasing to us right now.
Yes. But I mean, I really think that, at least what I'd like to do is have permission to look and see what the expense would be, and not with any commitment from us, but at least see what we're looking at and whether we could entertain assisting in that, or even cover it. I mean,
In the cost of construction, is that what you're
yes,
talking about?
for that extension of the front of the building.
It's a block building, isn't it?
Yes. What, I think what they'd do is they'd just put another set of rafters that would come off the peak. Don't even maybe change the peak, just come right off the peak. And then just put a wall, don't even mess with the existing wall, and just let it be there, and it would just be extended out. And you just put, maybe even move the overhead doors out to the new front of the building. Just vacate and just leave it there as it lies. That would be my recommendation. Not that I'm any architect or anything, but I don't think it hurts anything to leave what's there. You would just extend it out and you'd drive through. I mean, you'd park the truck and part of it.
Yeah, I know we've been there, but it's got, you do have to twist stuff around this way, that way, whatever.
And it's really not the same way
To
to
get it out,
do
so.
things. You know, you're running the risk of running into something. You can
It
get them
takes
out.
3 people to park it.
Yeah.
It's been pretty generous, and let's use their building over there for
Yes.
our stuff for a long time, I appreciate that.
So if it'd be all right, at least for me to check into, with no commitment, just to check and see what we're looking at for expense.
Sure.
Okay, that's all I got. Oh, good morning.
Glenn is next.
Yep.
You're in?
Oh, well, we won't take long.
Take all the time you need.
Okay.
Gentlemen.
I'll give this to you, that's the one that's signed. And here's our certificate of proper functioning for you. Most of you probably know this is Steve Freak, he's on our extension council, and Jim Sellers is our board chair. And here is a copy of our proposed budget that the board put together our first part of May. If you have any questions about it, what we are looking at is with some salary increases and some other things we're needing to look at purchasing. We are asking the county for appropriation, if you look down under receipts there, about halfway through the page, of $137,039. That is up a little bit over, or is up about $8,500 over last year. In 010, we asked for $124,800. 011, we got $128,500. Same thing in 012, we kept our budget the same this year as we did in and actually in 010 we did drop from 132,000 down to 124. So we did take a pretty good decrease there. So that's what the board is looking at. If you guys have any questions or.
So you said the increase is coming from what?
There's in the salary line item where an increase is where the majority of it is. Also,
What was the line item last year?
just a second here. Last year was 126,000. This year is 128. So there's 2,000. Also, we did increase. You have to look real quick here. The biggest increase. I'm sorry, I said salaries, but the biggest increase is in the employee benefits. It went up from 16,500 up to 19,000 because of capers and insurance stuff for some of that. So there's about 3,000 there, 2,000 in salaries, and then we also, with the fuel costs going up, or what had been going, we did increase our travel a little bit. And let's see, there's one other. Supplies, we raised $500 over last year. We did raise our educational miscellaneous programs $1,000 over last year also. We are doing, with the new office, we are doing a lot more programs, so that is a little more expensive. We're also going to need to buy, we're trying to look at probably buying some supplies for the office as far as chairs and things, because it is kind of a hassle moving chairs back and forth between, we've been using your chairs. We did buy our own tables last year, but like I say, we do move chairs back and
It'd be nice
forth.
to have chairs on there.
Yeah, and it's just a lot easier for me to keep track of too, I think, without needing to know where our chairs are all the time. We are buying some things like that, or plan on here toward the end of the year, if the money comes up, so, first next year. So, like I say, if you have any questions, but like I say, the biggest increase was in employee benefits and the salaries combined, that's where most of it was going.
So you said your total increase was how much?
About $8,539 over last year. It went up from $128,500 is what we asked for this year, and we're asking for $137,039 this year. So let's say it did go up $8,539.
128, what?
Last year was $128,500.
Your salaries and wages are separate from the courthouse and the counties, it's.
Yes,
So that's entirely up to you, or?
that's up to the board.
I see.
Yeah, the board sets those. We've got a 9-member board we meet with once a month.
The board sets them and we pay for them.
We're looking out for you guys.
I'm sure.
What should we not tell them? We've changed our.
Yeah, and we have changed our, as far as, our salaries used to be matched up to the state, starting July 1, ran through June 30th, to make it a little easier to budget, because not knowing if the budget's going to be signed or not until August, our salaries, if they start in July, well, if the board gave us a raise, and then maybe it's going to go through with you guys, if you didn't sign our budget the way it was, we need to decrease or change things, then it made a little bit of a hardship. So this way, our salaries will start January 1 and go to December. And I do know, like you made the comment about they set the salaries and you pay for them. They've been very good about salaries, because I think for the last several years, we've been at 1.5% pay raise, give or take.
That made us do it this year in two.
Yeah, this year was
steps.
actually about a 2% raise, 2.6, I think is what it equaled out to. But in the past several years, it's been at 1 to 1.5, trying to keep things under control.
I ask, because, you know, we ask our employees maybe not to get a raise and things. You ask one to sacrifice and then the other one gets it, it kind of makes hard feelings.
Yeah, no, I understand. But there've been some years too, though, that your guys have gotten 3% cost of living raises, and we've still been 1 also. So they don't always follow, I mean, or can't, because of budgets and things.
Sure.
Not to say that that's bad.
No,
I mean,
I'm just trying to understand it all.
No, that's good.
How it all
Now's the
works.
time to ask questions.
You bet.
Better than just coffee shop later.
Yeah, that's where you learn everything. You know?
But, you know, by going to match fiscal years, it'll be easier to keep them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can see where that'd be a real problem for you guys.
Yeah, because, like I say, not knowing what the county is going to get, it is, I mean, if we do something and you do something else, it is, like I say, if you want to keep it comparable, you can't hardly do that in the middle of the year.
So if you guys were to lose a tax base, say oil tank or something, you know, and we already did it, we'd be in trouble too.
Are you finding that you're busier now that you?
We're
That's
able
not
to-
the right word.
Yeah, traffic is probably a little better. I don't know why. I thought there at the courthouse people, but we probably do have a little more traffic coming in. I think probably, you hate to say this, but sometimes controversy helps because it made people more aware of what was going on and people coming in. We also are able to have a lot more program because we have our meeting facility that we don't have to rely on some other building, or we don't have, so we are able to do some things like Amy this past year she's been doing the What Kansas thing, we're able to do that right there instead of having to rely on some of the other programs. She did that healthy I can't remember the exact name of it, it was a kind of a weightlifting class. Originally it was called the Healthy Women, but she opened it up.
A kill you class, right, JD?
But it was, the original name was Healthy Women, then it changed into something else.
The
and I
women
don't-
brought their men.
Yeah.
Get some principles out like
Yeah, which JD was part of and Steve was part of also. We were able to hold
Out
several.
there looking pretty buff there.
Yeah, some controlled burn workshops, we had some, one thing that's been kind of neat is the university had started doing some webinars, so we've been able to offer, instead of having a specialist come out to the county, we've been able to do it through the internet and have producers come in. And so you can kind of do a lot timelier topics that way. Because sometimes whenever you only have maybe 7 or 8 people for a meeting, it's hard to get people to come in, and this way you can, I mean, the specialist can do it. And through the internet, if there's a question, we just type in the question. If one of the producers, say Steve would have a question, if it's on wheat planting or something, and has a question on it, we just type that in and they can answer it. It is interactive, and we've been doing probably 5 or 6 of those this year so far. There's one on biofuels coming up that I haven't advertised because we're going to be gone to camp. We leave for camp this week, so. But there's looked like a good one coming up, several, so there are some options we've been doing there. We have tried to cut our postage some. We're using the email a lot more for our 4-H letters, and also producers, I send out a producer email a couple times a week with, I think you're on that. So with information we get, and it's a lot timelier than that by the time you wait and do a newsletter once a month, or, but plus you save that postage. I think when a producer gets something, one short blurb once a week or twice a week, a lot better than getting a 4-page thing once a month, because a lot of times that seems to get put on top of the TV or refrigerator and maybe not read as well. So we have tried to keep our postage and some of that in line by using the internet a lot more. We also did do away with a postage meter this year and going to that stamps online, and we've been able to save, because the rental on the postage meter was almost $300 a year. And for this way, it's only cost about $190 to do the stamps online plus the postage, so we're able to save quite a bit of money that way and not have that money tied up in the postage meter.
So has Amy she's had more classes like food safety
Yeah.
and cooking and
Food
canning?
safety, yeah, she did some canning programs at the end of last summer. We've also had our 4-H food, our leaders have been able to do some more trainings because we have the kitchen there. That's worked out good. Lida Rudy and Bob Mercer are some foods leaders here in the county, and they've been able to hold, just since April, I think they've had like 4 or 5 meetings. I shouldn't say April, it's February, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
They've had 4 or 5 foods meetings there with 4-H kids. There've been some crafts meetings held. So like I say, there has been a lot more, because like I say, where we had the space, it just works out.
That's nice space.
How's your enrollment in 4-H?
Actually, up. We were, the last 2 years we've been up. We've done a little bit more of a marketing campaign in the schools. We're probably up about 20 members over the last 2 years. The good thing is
That's not bad.
most time we're able to retain. That's the real strength.
Right.
Because this year we graduated 3 seniors, which was like the year before was 7. So I mean, we've got kids staying through. That we aren't. I mean, if we're losing them, we're losing them in the first several years. If they stay longer than 3 or 4 years, they're normally in for the whole time.
For the tour?
Yeah. But we're right at about 100 members. And going back, if you look at our membership, even when we had 10,000 people here in the county, I went back and did all this several years ago, for some board members want to know what our popular, about 130 to 140 was kind of the high, even, and you know how population drops, we're an aging society. Our number of youth that fit into that 7 to 18 is going down, that percentage. So percentage-wise, we're still holding, I mean, even though our numbers are lower than what they were, percentage-wise, if people are reaching, it's still pretty good. Plus, we're able to go in and do a lot more in the schools. Amy has been working with the library here, doing some reading classes and foods and nutrition things. We've been able to go into the STARS program at Stafford and do some programs working with Cheryl McNichols over there. We've been in Maxville doing some food safety things and doing some leadership programs over the years. So.
4-H has too much to compete
Yeah, I mean,
back
yes.
in the day, that's all we had to do.
Well, and back when
Now,
And back when we were all younger, you didn't drive 100 miles to a basketball game.
That's you did 4-H.
Yeah, I mean, 4-H was about the only game in town, or like I say, you didn't go, and there wasn't something 5 nights a week.
But that was a 4-H band, but this year, I'm surprised at the number of young ones, like you said, that's.
We had a really good group of younger ones this
Gotcha,
year. We had,
that's-
like I say, we had probably this year, like I say, we lost some members, but we also increased probably 15 in that 7 to 8-year-old
Yeah.
range. And we are getting a new family. I had a guy call the other day, we got a new family moving into Stafford with 2 or 3 kids that will be joining. His wife's gonna be the fax teacher at Stafford. So he's already called and asked, and
Good.
so there are some things, I mean, there are some good things going on. But like everything else, budgets are not the funnest, the part of our job. They're yours. I know Nita loves them. so.
I love budgets.
Well, I say, if you have any questions, we're sure glad to try and.
I think we got them answered.
Okay, and that 5,000, that unencumbered cash balance up above of 5,000, or not up above, but at the top line of the receipts there in the middle page, that was carryover money we had from last year that we're putting back into our budget to help make it work.
All right.
Glenn? That's
We heard.
encouraging.
Jim? Steve?
Like I say, it's up, the board puts this budget together. We make recommendations or look at things and try and do it, but the board is responsible for it. And they are elected officials too, so. They won't sign the oath. Yeah.
Was there.
Yeah, and you were talking about the banquet, having it there in that community room this year.
That was great.
It worked out really good for us. With the chairs we've had and everything, we're about at our limit for what we got. But the banquet's been growing the last several years too. I think we had about 120 there this year, and when I first started, if we had 60 that first year or two, and it just has slowly kind of grown. I think originally it was maybe marketed more toward just the ones who won the awards, and people didn't all see what was going on. So,
You bought some of your own tables?
yes, we bought 10.
At the same time.
Yeah, at the same time we went together and were able to get a lot better deal through Lowe's that way. I think we saved like almost $10, $15 a table, and we bought 24 total. We bought 14 and we bought 10. And it's one of those things too that we have, like say, use your tables, and sometimes we put our tables over there and this and that, so it's worked out good to have them all there, because we had to use everything when we had the achievement banquet. And plus, I think you've got 6 smaller tables too over there, they're the 6-footers. And we've even, something we did this year we had never done before, had a camp planning meeting where we had 20 other counties come in. Normally we go to Great Bend, but because we had a facility, they came here, so we didn't have to travel, and I think we made a lot of them envious of what the facilities are. So, people are aware of what you've done and are appreciative of it, so. Nice to be able to have our board meetings there too, and carry stuff around. So thank you guys very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Baseball season, or softball.
No, all right. Should have been better, but it wasn't. But it wasn't bad.
We're almost on schedule. Come on up, Carl.
I'm just sitting.
Daydreaming.
Steaming is more like it. Look at her.
Neighborhood revitalization first for you. Like that. What this is we've got everything entered, and actually we certified to NETA last week, and I think everything's good. So far, so good on that. But this here is neighborhood revitalization, and it's what we did is we did it by year. So if you, and we won't go over everything, you guys can keep that copy. But if you look to the left, the 07 numbers, the project numbers, the 07, that would be the parcels for 2007, the very first year we had neighborhood revitalization. And then I drew a red line, and then 08 would be the 2008, 09 projects would be the 09, 10, and so forth, and all the way up to 2012. And we actually already have 14 applicants for 2013 valuation year. So we're looking at probably another 30 this year.
Really?
Yeah. And so what we have total right now without the 2013 tax year is we have 145 applicants in the project since it started. So, and I wrote that on the front of your sheet there then. So and you can see names, parcel numbers, values, and so forth like that. And kind of a nice little report there for you to follow across and go from there. So you guys have any questions there, but I think neighborhood revitalization is working.
It is encouraging, and
Yes, it is.
That was my question. Do you think this is actually helping?
I think it is. I think it helps, you know, considerably.
This all going to tax rolls is because that's a nice thing.
And if you look back how fast time actually does go.
Right, and how fast.
07 started,
That's new stuff that's going to roll you don't have now.
you know, it's a 7-year program, and so, yeah. So it's pretty encouraging anyway. Especially, you know, when the things are hard, times are hard and so forth, to see that kind of construction that goes on in Stafford County. So, and that kind of goes to show that, you know, you don't need necessarily, of course, dwellings would be nice and commercial, but you don't, the little things make a difference too. I mean, when you look at over the long run, how much it does make a difference. So you guys can have that there, and then the only other thing I have is budget.
Pull that out of my hand. See.
Oh, what's he doing?
Yeah, that's what he is. He's not gonna take it now. Okay, 2013 budget. Looks like it's gonna go down about $400, from 137,700 to 137,300. Still put in for 3% for employees, but it didn't. We were actually at 121,900 last year. But if I take everybody's salary, we still come up to the where we don't have, even if we get to do the 3%, we're going to still be right there then. Went down line item by item, so forth. Tried to cut what we could cut, and if I couldn't cut, well, I had left it in there. But let you kind of go down to it and see if you have any kind of questions or anything.
so that Orion is not that expensive, is it? Was there an initial startup charge?
There was going to be, but there wasn't then. And actually, all the education part was free. The state has started to charge for it now. So some of the counties, a lot of the counties just got on the Orion this year. The classes that they take, I think it's $95 per class, which if you have a lot of employees, that's a lot of money. But the initial was free.
Now, this is the GIS.
No, this is the Orion.
This
This is the state Orion appraisal
Right.
system. The GIS, that's the Autodesk. We purchase our software through Autodesk.
Now, is there a yearly charge for
There's a
it?
yearly charge on there, but what we did back in the 2010 budget is we actually had enough in our budget. Autodesk offered a 2-year or a 3-year sign up, and they gave us a discount. We went ahead and jumped on the board and did that.
Okay.
So I won't budget that till 2014, next year. And hopefully they're off of that again, but yeah, we almost saved one full year by going to 3 years. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So, but that's the Autodesk, that's the GIS.
That's the GIS.
Yeah, yeah. And that's about, for that software, that's about $850 a year if you do it yearly. For that. going with.
Okay.
So I don't, as you can see, it hasn't changed much or anything. I think we're about right there where we've been, you know.
That's a couple, 3 years.
You don't need a new copier or?
We already bought it, we already got us one. The one thing that I wouldn't mind trying to get, actually,
Oh, I should have not brought it
Yeah,
up.
I don't think you brought it up.
Well,
Way to go, Rocky.
well, what I'm trying to do is our plotter in there, to make for the GIS
Yes.
maps. It's a 42-inch plotter, and so we want to go with the same thing. But OPI's selling them now. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get one of the other two counties to go in like we did with the copier, where we could save so much more money when you buy more than one. And actually, it was kind of a fluke thing that Barton County called. They're looking at getting a new plotter, and they actually was looking at OPIs. So even if the other counties don't want to go in, we're going to try to maybe go with Barton. And if we get one, what we won't do, we won't raise the budget, but we'll go out of the appraisal equipment fund, reserve fund. But you guys have let us set that up to where that's actually what it's to help us do is for the GIS and so forth. We used to put that back to buy the photography on there.
Okay, good.
And that right now, we're looking around $4,900. The one we have is 8 years old. It's the original one we bought when we started the GIS years ago. So, but before we go into that far, I want to see if I can get another county first, and if we get the other county, then I'll come in and ask you and bring you some dollar amounts and stuff like that there.
It makes sense if you did the counties together.
Well, I think it is. I think it saves a lot of money.
Well,
Well, I know it saves a lot of
That
money
was
because
kind of,
we've
I
done
think,
it.
our intent with meeting the other counties, but try to come up with some ideas of
You know,
different things.
that's something maybe we could discuss in more detail, actually. Because if I was selling copiers, I'd love it too. You know, if I could sell 3 of them instead of 1, I'm a lot happier.
That's right. The timing has to be on. I mean,
Sure.
it might take a little while for the counties to get their timing first, you know,
Well,
and
apparently right now it's copy season.
Well, it seemed like, for the
Tire
last
season at my house.
Is it?
tires,
Oh, yeah. It's-
several, commission meetings that I've gone to, they're always talking about GIS and the applications that they utilize, from emergency preparedness to water mains. So it's,
Saline County is probably the most aggressive. I don't know if they've talked at the meetings.
Well,
but
and
Saline
Dickinson-
County is
Dickinson.
very aggressive. Geary County,
yes,
very aggressive.
yes.
So, and Russell County is very aggressive, actually.
I think it's
It's good.
About Pawnee and Ellsworth.
But we do more of our own stuff, for the county. We do try to, Pawnee's probably the most aggressive as far as using it between the cities and the county and so forth. But you have to have your other departments get involved also, as far as, say the city needed, say they wanted a layer turned on for all their drains, or all their power poles, or this, that, and the other. That entity has to do the legwork first. And so that entity is responsible for that part. You can't just, in the appraiser's office, I can't go out and start measuring every manhole cover in the city.
Right.
The city needs to do that. They have to get interested in doing their, and then then they would in turn give us that information, then we would make the layer. And that's where,
That's reasonable.
and that's where we have
Makes
a
sense
hard
to me.
time here, is you don't get the other entities. For years, we talked about, I think it would be good, and you guys even thought it would be good for bridges, location of bridges. But that would be time for the road and bridge to gather that information, and then once we have the information, then we can make the layer. I mean, you could put a photo in there, you could put the bridge number, you could put the inspection date, you could put the weight, you could put the age of the bridge, you could put all this stuff.
We didn't do that.
And we don't, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, you have to get everybody kind of on board, and we haven't done that. It's hard to find people, to have time to do that. But we have the system there.
the GPS location. I mean, it's,
Yeah,
if you input the data,
You know, we were going to do that for, actually for all the oil and gas, all the wells and so forth. But the KCC has a website and so forth. They actually give you longitude and latitude there as well now, so why waste our time? on it?
right.
You already can go out on the internet and go find it. You know, there's no sense, it'd be a waste of time. So, but yeah, a lot of cities do that. Manhole covers, fire hydrants, power poles. You might think that's a little stupid, but they put the date and so forth when those lines were put in. And you know, they follow through. Then if one's broke from an accident, then they can, I mean, some of them really go to detail on it. But
Well, it's like they
you
did
can,
in Chapman, you know, they did the layer on the houses that was involved in the tornado. And she ran off a deal and said, these houses are not occupied, so you don't even need to go to those. So,
Yeah.
it's quite a tool.
I mean, you can go in detail, but you could also say then, are those communities that have all that good stuff, do they have too many employees? I mean, that would be the next question you could say, is, how do you have enough time to put employee on doing that? I know that's been raised in certain areas, certain counties, that, you know, we like these toys, but how on earth, why are we paying for an employee, or if you have that much time?
Right.
And I think that's what we run across here, you know, in the smaller, you don't have that extra.
But in the long term, it's gonna save you money if you got all stuff available with it.
It's how you look at it, that's right.
Right.
It's how you look at it, but that isn't being brought up in some of these that with the GIS.
See, they're even offering degrees in this now.
Sure. And that's what, you know, we talked to, I actually talked to Fort Hayes, is I wanted to find out why they didn't have, or what kids need to take to be a GIS coordinator for a community, or for 3 counties, or for a county and 4 cities. I mean, because that salary would be tremendous, but it would keep a salary and people here, you know. And they gave me a list back then of what you'd have to take. I mean, but Ellis County brings that up, I guess, quite a bit, because they're losing all their people, a lot of their people, but yet there's good salaries to be made, like in the GIS and the appraisal and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's been brought up. So,
Very interesting.
it is. All right, well, that's what I have there. I don't know if you have any questions or anything on this. And then I will get back with you on the plotter later on, and if I don't get back with you, it means we're not going to do it. We're not going any further, yeah.
Did you visit with Joe? Joe was in last week when we discussed it.
I seen Joe last week at Ellsworth, but he didn't say anything.
Okay, well, we had quite a discussion, and
On that letter? Okay.
yes, yeah, and he seems to be on the same page we are.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so what are we,
we left it that he needed to talk to you.
oh,
You
okay.
know, Lisa she went back and got old tax, the tax statements and everything, got him all the information he needed, and he looked at it and came to the same conclusions that we did.
Okay.
So,
And
I'm not sure where this is standing, but we left it that he needed to talk to you.
Okay.
And I'm disappointed that he hasn't at this point, because, you know, it sounds like we're gonna get some
Well,
action brought
they
against
called
us.
me again,
Okay.
that gentleman from Daymar. I mean, and
Uh-huh.
he just really rakes me over the coals when he calls.
Well, yeah, and it's not fair that you're dealing with
Yeah,
this.
and I'm trying to tell him, well, you know, unless I get an order from the commissioners, I can't do anything, and, you know, that's a statute. And, I mean, he just really rakes me over the coals, and so I'm just gonna have to say,
Well, I think, what
you know, you're gonna have to
the
talk to
county
the county
attorney needs to
commissioners if you have
get
any
in contact
questions.
with him and explain the situation and resolve. I think that should be his job to
I
talk.
think this is
Well,
up to
and he
Joe.
really
Joe's
needs
not
to-
gonna do anything until he talks to you.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
One or both of you need to make an effort to communicate.
Well, I
with each
will,
other.
I'll find him now, I mean.
Okay. But he
Let him go
he
ahead
seemed
and
to
write a
fully
letter, explain
understand
what's-
what we were talking about
Okay.
and agreed with your point of view.
Okay, all right. Very,
He
very
was
good.
confused by the way, and he was confused because, and I'm gonna ask you this as a question, or try to, but when you apply for an exemption, it still goes to the state appeals,
It goes to the Court of Tax Appeals.
and he was confused by that, because in his mind, you only do that if you are
Paying under protest.
paying under protest. Now, that is not the case in this situation, is it?
No, they was going after their exemption.
Which is just a form
And
you
you
fill
still
out.
have to, it still has to go to the Court of Tax Appeals.
So that was kind of confusing him, because he thought that that meant that they had actually paid under protest, and he was assuming some things that
Yeah,
I
he
don't
did
think were
bring
the
that
case.
And I told him that because I did look to make sure they
It
had.
showed they'd only paid $200-some
Yeah,
just
they
to
were-
get their equipment, not for that year, so.
In 2008, it was like the $200.
Yeah, $200-some, so they wasn't paying us.
And in 2000, yeah, anyhow, get with it, get it fixed, so at least it doesn't get chewed on, and they can get it. Well, it's just silly that they're calling and chewing on her, like she has the authority to do it, and then, everybody else is going,
Well,
They're-
it's what they're just trying to, they can't get through to Carl, so they're
Trying
just,
to bully you.
and
yeah,
they're just trying to go around the back
it
door.
needs to be dealt with,
you know.
so,
I agree, they need to pay their taxes.
Yeah.
they do. That's right. And they don't deserve a rebate on taxes.
No, they don't.
407, so, but
Well,
Joe agreed with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
So get with him, get it resolved, have Joe get in contact with them,
okay.
right?
And that was last Monday?
Yes.
Yes.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, it was Friday.
Friday out, didn't have
We met on the
much.
first.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Confused me, yeah, that's right.
There's many all week, I messed up all week after that. I don't know what day it was.
Today. Yeah, he's in agreement with us, we're all pretty much looking at the same point of view, so.
Okay, sounds good then. Thanks for
All
talking
right,
to us.
Yep. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
Okay, real quick, I did the county attorney's budget for him. Since I already handed you last week of the letter.
Oh, you just gave it. Okay.
Yeah, this is just his, he wanted to leave the same as 12. So I put his 11 actual expenses in there and just copy and pasted 13 from 12. So you kind of see how he's running, dollar-wise.
So we can throw away other proof.
Well, he just gave you that letter, saying,
Yeah, right.
leave the same, da-da-da-da.
Okay.
So. Chris Collier's supposed to be here at 9 on Thursday. So.
Only one left on the agenda is you. I don't see
No,
Chris
that's
Collier.
Joe's key.
Oh, there it is. I see it. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and show you these. These are the budgets that I prepare. The county commission budget, my budget, employee benefits, courthouse general. Increased your budget, what? A little over $1,000 to allow for a 3% cost of living. My budget, I left it the same, $131,320. I did some creative moving around, because I will probably have to buy a copier in 13. I know you've heard that from a lot of people, but that's probably gonna happen. I'm still running on the old one that Doris had 2 or 3 times ago, I think. And we'll have one election in 13, city school, so. But the amount stayed the same. Courthouse general, it increased 26,000. I increased that, I put in there a possible county car purchase. So I put 20,000 in there for that. I didn't know, because I know you've been kind of kicking it around. We can always take that out. That was the biggest thing I increased. Increased the insurance a little bit, because I don't know what our rates are gonna do.
And this is insurance on the building?
Yeah,
That means-
yeah, our property and stuff. I just increased it 5%. You just never know.
Right.
I think we've still got a lot of leeway in there, so we should be okay. I talked to Mike, and there aren't any big building repair projects he's got planned or anything, so, I think the county car deal was the only big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
And I don't know what you want to do.
let's get along.
Are we done with pointing and tucking of the building, or?
They didn't come this year. I think they made it all the way around, and we're gonna wait a few years to
Okay.
come back. I mean, there's no reason to have it come every year.
No, it was for long, just gotta do a portion each year until they
Yes.
get around it, and then, as long as they'll,
So we're good on that.
Mm-hmm.
then they'll do it just a little bit each year when they come back around,
Right.
and then just have the expense all at once.
So, I increased the coroner's, line item 4332. I mean, we just had so many of those that we're over budget on that already this year. But you can't predict something like that, obviously, so. Infotech,
What's the other pro services you do?
well, we
I was
have,
looking at 011 compared to 12, that's what I was looking
we have the legal services, which are like Joe when he does appellate cases, or like this whole thing, anything above and beyond the audit, coroner. Other, like miscellaneous things we have, when they come and spray for bugs, I usually take it out of there.
Okay.
What about the elevator? Have they been out again?
And that comes out of building repairs and maintenance, and no. It's still haunted.
Yeah, and I tell you, it has scared a couple of the
I know. but-
customers that come in. Like, I know one person that kind of have
Possible.
dementia, and they were actually scared when they came in my
Yeah.
office.
It's,
Because they said, she didn't know where she was
yeah.
when the door opened.
It-
And, I mean, she was
Well, I had
fine.
a guy the other day said that he was going to the DMV,
Mhm.
and it took him to the 4th floor, and then
Yeah.
slowly,
Mhm.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
comes
it's-
down real
does,
slow.
But they
Yeah.
can't
So
seem to
why-
fix it.
why can't they fix it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We got a service contract on the toll week, well, I would think they fell
And
under
you
the
never
service
call
contract.
into them?
I'll give them this week.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think we're high on the list.
Said we're scaring people.
Yep.
Yeah, really.
Oh,
So
we are.
it's mainly the older people
We'll
that
have to
really
replace
get.
the flooring one of these days again.
Yeah.
They get real scared.
The infotech budget, I left it the same. We really, really appreciate Randy, and he just.
He does a good job.
Oh my gosh. Employee benefits, I increased it. And as you know, this is always a crapshoot with our insurance and stuff, so, I increased the health insurance benefit, I mean, because in 2011, we had 635,000 actual expenses, I only budgeted 520. But that just depends on our, what we have happen. So I increased it to 625,000, a 20% increase. I left everything else, well, I had to raise papers because it's gonna go up. Everything else I left the same. But like I said, that, being self-insured, that's just a crapshoot, so. Anyway, those are my budgets. Do you have any questions or want me to do anything different on the general? Do you want to leave that car in there? Is
I think-
20,000 enough? I had no
I would
clue.
think so, probably, with the government discount, and everything you get on the,
Well, and, yeah,
makes quite a difference on money wise.
but if we do need to cut somewhere, we can always cut that out if we need to redo it.
Well, I think we'll make that decision when the time
We'll
comes.
see
Glad to
what
put
the
it in
numbers
there
are.
so we can see where we're at.
Wasn't that the only thing that, major thing you guys could think of too? We weren't gonna replace the windows or anything.
Well, I think cars used more since it's up here than it was down the shop too all the time, and of course, just a hassle going down and get it out and everything, so, which is good, it saves us expenses on the other end.
Well, I see that our generator's already been installed and all that. And
Out over here?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's
that was
already
put in
paid.
a long
That was
time
done
ago.
in a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
What do we do with the old one?
Did that, I was gonna ask that question, and I've forgotten. bet the people who put it in took it.
I think it's still sitting there, isn't it?
It is.
I think it's still
Or
sitting.
it was when I walked
Last week it was.
through there last
No, we
Wednesday.
told them that.
Yeah, we talked about it, go ahead and try to advertise it,
Last
sell
week
it.
it
so-
was still
Advertise
sitting
and
right
sell
by
it.
the building.
I guess I didn't notice. I noticed
Like Phil pick it up, take it down.
Phil or Steve should pick it up.
Well, actually, it's a sheriff's.
Yeah, it's Jeff.
I do like
Jeff
it.
doesn't have any place to put it, but Steve or Phil could house it and sell it.
There's not room in the garage for it, is there?
Oh, no, that was Mike. We still got that whole pallet full of those books
Yeah.
too. What did I do with those? Are they doing their fair booth this year? Do we know?
Don't know.
If not, we need to figure out
That's up to
some way
them.
to.
Distribute.
Yeah, it was out. I mean, it's what, last I knew there was still a whole pallet full.
No, I lost my train of thought.
Well, we could stick them over the annex, that pallet, and then put the generator in there, and then he could advertise it. Okay. Just a thought.
Okay. That's all I have.
There's not room in the annex to
Well,
store those?
what's wrong with taking it down to the
That's
county
all.
yard, just leave it set out there, it's been sitting out, sits out all the
Yeah,
time
I know,
anyhow.
I'm just saying if.
I mean, I would think
Someone
if you have
said
a fish,
walk
just
off.
Yeah.
take it down and set it down in the county yard till it gets sold.
Come in, lady.
Okay, so we're done.
You're ready for me?
Unless
I
you have
didn't
any
mean
more
to
questions.
interrupt.
No, you're not in.
Good morning.
How are you?
Because it seems like there was something in my mind. Morning.
You've
Hi.
met Chris, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you guys?
Good. For a Monday.
For a Monday?
Mm-hmm.
Sound grumpy. Is it budget time?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, don't you hate that? Everybody's doing budget, it's just a little grumpy. Well, I don't come for bad news, and I don't come asking for anything,
Good.
so I'll be
Good
helpful.
start, yeah, good
Yeah,
start.
I just want to clarify that right up front. What I did was I brought, when we did the new Great Bend Visitor Guide, we did a pullout in the middle of it on the byway that kind of included an itinerary so people didn't have an idea of what to do. Sorry, I butchered that. And so when we did that, we went ahead and overprinted them. Sure. So that everybody could have some. And they just tell a little bit about the overall of the byway and then give people kind of a starting point if they don't know what they might do, what they could fill in. Excuse me, guys, my allergies are taking my rear. So anyway, in this overrun, I printed enough that all of the communities could have a supply of these. And so I brought them down to you guys and was going to ask if you would like to do the handouts and whatever. So I've got Hudson, I've got some for Quivira and St. John and Stafford's.
I seen your new guy, was up at Great Bend the other day, and was waiting in one of them waiting room in there. Nice guy.
Thank
Very
you.
well put together.
We reformatted it quite a bit and put a couple of, like I said, agendas, itineraries, because what we found out from going to travel shows is that we went better if we went with an itinerary. We just said, come explore our area, people, but if you say, well, start here and do this, and then they could kind of pick and choose, it seemed to make people more receptive. So we decided to try this as a pullout with all the stuff that Judy Walden was doing and the fact sheets and everything for each of the communities. We thought this would be a nice little add-on where everybody could have. The other thing that we're doing that I have Becky working on, but we just didn't have it in time for this, but I'm going to have Becky develop either a half-day or full-day itinerary for each community on the byway that is specific to their community. So, in other words, if somebody wanted to come down to St. John for a half a day, it would say you need to see this and plan about this much time here and this, this, and this, because it just seems like people kind of need you to give them the ideas of what to do and how to put it together. So we're going to put those together. Okay, so here's this, or however all of you guys want to deliver that. The other thing I wanted to tell you was that the 2 Kansas Visitor Information Centers, there's one south of Wichita on I-35 and one on I-70 at Goodland. Last year, we put booths up at both of those for, I think, a 2-week period. And then we had a sign up where people could sign up to win. We had custom-made birdhouses for that one. And then we used those names and put them in a database for electronic newsletter for the byway. We had such good response that this year what we did was we bought the showcase position for the entire months of both June and July, and then worked a deal that because we bought such a big time segment that we got Memorial Weekend too. So we've got Memorial Weekend till the end of July that we will be showcased at the two centers, and we're giving away Skip Yao with Jan Sports has a signature line, and one of the backpacks he has it's called a Great Bend. It doesn't say Great Bend on it, it's just part of the signature line. But they're really nice, and they're leather trimmed and all that. They're a value, I think if you buy them retail, they value at like $340. Well, we managed to get a couple at wholesale, and so that's what we're using to sign up, because it's got a local boy connection with all of that. So we're hoping we get really good response, but all of that then will go into that, all that input will go into a database, and we will then use that to expand on byway newsletters and stuff that we send out. We have developed a little e-blast format. It's called the Flyover News, and it's got the byway logo and banner on it. We sent out one as soon as we got the Exoduster thing developed. We're going to send out a targeted batch this probably summer and fall, because working through Kansas Travel and Tourism, we got the entire database of all the variety of outdoor riders that they work with. Rather, they're not just hunters, but the bikers and the photographers and the birders. And so we have developed e-blasts specific to each of the niche markets that have been designated for the byway, and we'll be targeting the travel media with those. Pardon me.
You're gonna switch brands of cigarettes.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I know it. And to think, I don't smoke, that's just so sad. The minute they started cutting wheat, I
Oh
started.
yeah, blame it on the farm.
Now the doctor tells me it's the smut.
Smut.
The smut in the wheat that I'm allergic
Yeah,
to.
smutty wheat.
You got smutty wheat, evidently
Right, I
there's.
just
We haven't had enough rain down here.
Did it have any smut?
I never heard of smut.
No, I think she's right, there's, I've seen blacktail out there, that's probably what it is.
And
Yeah,
it
it's
just,
low for.
yeah, it just makes me nuts. So, okay, so the other things I wanted to tell you, we're doing some advertising. Peaks and Plains, which is the on-flight magazine for Great Lakes Airlines. We've bought a couple of 2-page spreads that have the itinerary for the byway, and I think for about 6 months worth of exposure in Peaks and Plains. We bought some advertising in Birds and Blooms magazine for the byway. The state of Kansas puts out an event e-blast every month about what's coming up in the Kansas, and so we pick something that's going on along the byway to feature in an e-blast, and then we always make sure that it's got the byway logo and everything on it. So we're not only featuring an event, but we're putting the byway logo out there. So Fermata, that did all of our work, has got a grant to do some work for the state of Kansas as far as developing interpretive plans for all the byways. Since our byway already has an interpretive plan, we don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but there will be some kind of finished product that we agree on with KDOT and with Vermont. So it'll be probably in the neighborhood of a $20,000 to $25,000, something that will be developed for our byway as part of this KDOT grant. Under another grant that the state has, they are working with a production company out of Topeka to do both still and video footage of all of the byways. I think it's like a 2-year project, so supposedly they're going to be capturing all the byways in the different seasons and the major attractions in the different communities. And the advantage of this is that the byways then own all that B-roll footage when they're done. So if we want to put together some kind of a video or use different footage for ads for different things, we should have a nice library of still and video footage. And then the last thing was, I know that you probably all got an email from Richard Beckman, but I think in October he's going to have a kind of a meeting to do like a review of the byway. You know, here's where we are, kind of look at the CMP and see, okay, this is great what we've accomplished now of what's left. Let's talk about priorities and everything, which I think will be a kind of a good, you know, it'll be a good exercise in review and making sure that everybody's in agreement on where we're headed now. As far as the Bureau is concerned, you know, our main focus now will be that the itineraries are developed and everybody's got their fact sheets and everybody's got that. We'll get more aggressive with the marketing, but there's other things that are involved in that CMP that, you know, you all will want to address. So that was the update that I wanted to answer. I knew since Janet was gone, you guys maybe weren't sure what was going on and hadn't maybe had as much information, so I thought it was a good time to come down and deliver these and kind of answer any questions anybody might have. As I cough my way through it.
So Richard's doing all Janice.
Apparently he is. He kind of, when the governor came for that ecotourism summit, Richard kind of had to jump in and very quickly get, you know, caught up on what the byway was, what it did. And I think when he did, it kind of really sparked his interest. You know, when you just get fed a little piece here and a little piece there, you don't really see the mass of what's happened and how positive it is and all that. And I think it kind of excited him to see what the byway has. So he's talking about even that when he gets Janet's replacement hired, that he's probably going to keep the byway. And I think that's only good for the byway. That anytime you have, you know, them directly committed, that's a good thing. So
Well, one of my concerns, and I'm getting to sound like a broken record, was the cell coverage up by the big marsh. You know, and I've talked to the parks lady, and of course the governor was there, and it, you know, and as I was leaving Great Bend that day, when I crossed 19 and 281, I pulled out my phone and looked, and I did not have a signal.
south of 19, huh?
At 19 and 281.
Okay.
And it was there for about a mile, and then finally it popped back up. But you know, my contention is that since people are so, you know, they
phone apps.
Their cell phone is their left hand now.
Mm-hmm.
And if they get into starting down the byway and they lose a signal.
Well, not only that, but it really limits us on some of what we can do, because like I said, either the QR codes or the different apps that are available for phone for interpretation or or directions or anything else, if we can't have that, you know, on part of the byway, we do have a problem. You know, I would say make sure that in that meeting that they have, that, you know, that's coming up as far as what are the next priorities, you know, you guys show up and say that is your priority, because if everybody's together on it, if we can get, you know, not only the byway, but, you know, the governor's office and some involvement from U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Do we have a new person in the area? I heard Dan was leaving.
I hadn't heard that.
Oh, I did.
Did you? Oh, well, we're the last to know about anything.
Well, maybe it was just a rumor, but
I mean, he's, no doubt, I mean, he's on the way up, but I'll probably see Barry in the next day or two, unless I ask.
well, yeah,
But
give
you
me
know,
an excuse when you
The thing
hand
is,
those over.
it doesn't bother me about the apps. The thing that bothers me is public safety.
Yes.
And that should be the #1 priority, you know, of the scenic byway, in my opinion. Because if someone, and we've had a biologist lost out in the cattails, you know, at the little salt marsh, because the radio wasn't working, or she didn't have the radio, but she did have her cell phone. But luckily, a couple hours later, she was able to find her way out.
Can I borrow a pen? Well, here's what, let me do this. I know the guy that is the coordinator between all the byways and U.S. Fish and Wildlife in D.C. And let me call Nathan and ask him as far as U.S. Fish and Wildlife is concerned.
But see, even the people that are working up on the refuge have to rely on the radios, because there's no signal, and I
Well, the easiest thing would be is if U.S. Fish and Wildlife would take the lead on this. And let me just see what
I agree.
Nathan
we
has
could
to
put the
say.
tower right by the artesian well. You know, if they're worried about space, it's just something that's been bugging me, and because, you know, every time we go to one of these meetings, it's all this, you know, these apps and all this information you can download and so on and so forth. But once they download them, you know, I want to get some information, particularly around the big marsh.
Uh-huh.
So, what is it like at the south end of Cheyenne Bottoms? Is it the same way?
No,
Is there
cell
coverage?
coverage.
There is?
Yep, there's coverage all over.
I can tell you from experience, having a flat tire and being stranded at the artesian well, it's a long walk to anywhere.
Yeah.
It's a really pretty scary feeling.
We had during the birdie festival, we had
There's a
one
big
of the
area out
bands
there
that
where
had a
there's no
flat
light.
tire down there one year. And so and that's when we put radios in all the vans after that, because it caused us a huge problem, and we had a van of 15 people.
Well, when we did that, when we got on the bus and rode around, remember the lady from Washington's husband had a heart attack or something?
Yes.
And we were there at the overlook
Uh-huh.
and couldn't find out anything, so we had to go down the road to where they got a signal, and then we took her over to 281, and whoever it was met her and to take her back to.
Washington, yeah, that's right.
So there's, you know.
Well, let me call Nathan and talk to him about that and see what he recommends, and then I'll shoot you an email and you can share with the guys. But I can get a call into him and see what he recommends as far as from theirs, and then, like I said, making sure that it gets put on the priority list in the review of the corridor management plan for the overall byway would be, because we had so many things, you know, we need to get this done, this, and well,
Oh,
really,
yeah.
but I mean, we've come a long
No,
way,
we have.
our checklist, so the timing is perfect to see if we can't nudge that up the list a bit.
Because I know Ted said something about that, on some of these drilling units, you know, they have Wi-Fi, and when they're done with the site, they have gotten, I guess this is down in Texas or Oklahoma, they've gotten, they all leave, you know, their Wi-Fi. And he says, but I said, well, really don't want too many oil rigs up around Quivir and Cheyenne Bottoms.
Preferably not, no.
But, anyway, it's, like I said,
Okay, I'll check. See what we can do. What else you got, guys? Questions, comments, concerns,
no.
criticisms? I'll leave them here.
I don't know what our status is on that mile into the visitor center off of 19. We've applied for the grant, so haven't heard anything about that. So
It was a long shot.
it was a long shot, and I think it's justified. But
I do too, but we'll see.
cross that road when we get there. Thank you much, Chris. Hope
Okay.
you get better
Oh, I will. Like I said, I'll hack my way into.
till Milo season.
Oh, God, yeah, I'm afraid so, and then it'll be another go around. Give me a shout if you have anything come up, or if you have questions. You've all got my email. Don't hesitate to use it, and I'll talk to you
All
later.
right, thanks.
Thank you.
Safe trip.
Thank you.
Well, we are,
We're done, so
we're done except for Judge, right? You got anything else? Let's recess.
Page on this, our bottom line is, we asked 62,000 last year, we're keeping the request the same. Gonna spend estimated, you know, we still have a few months, but estimated is gonna be, we're spending around 52. So, and you know, Renee does a good job, if we don't spend it, we don't just make up stuff to spend, we usually give you money back if we need to. The next page, page 3, is the line item. What would break our 62,000 down? Legal defense, we actually are going down a little bit, 500 there. We increased some repair and maintenance, which we may have some stuff to work on computers, that type of thing. Really, not a whole heck of a lot to ask or talk about. Just got the 2 employees up at the clerk's office. Of course, they're paid for by the state, but I think Renee and Renee are doing a good job up there and keeping things moving. Judge Walters does a nice job, so we haven't had any real big issues that we're aware of. I don't know if you guys have any particular specific questions. Renee, anything you want to talk about or bring up?
Nothing that I can think of at this time.
Sabrina, you know, she works court service office, probation. We got some people down here, go ahead.
Her Kennedy comes down 2 to 3 times a month. One of the things that do come back to you guys is when we are running, do chemical testing on our offenders, they pay for that, and that money comes back to Stafford County through general fund. So we collected $203 last year for those UA fees, but overall in the district, in terms of what we're paying the testing company, we're coming out about even as far as we're collecting those fees through Renee's accounting system up there, which has helped to make sure those people have a zero balance before they get off probation.
District expense, that's about the same. That, again, John has talked about that, we've talked about that. That's like the weeks when I come down here, court reporters, telephone calls, those type of expenses, the district, Martin County funds it, and then you guys pay a percentage of those type of expenses based upon your population, which you pay like 8% of that total district expense. Mileage for judges, court reporters, telephone calls. Like if I call Renee Okay, and does that go on Barton County because I call from Barton, or does it go to Renee because I'm calling for Stafford County business? So we just include all phone bills, those type of things. Anything else in that district expense, John? Mailing, postage?
The court services budget is through that.
Right, your mileage, that type of stuff, and that's like $8,700. We kept that district expense about the same for the last 10 years, and not a whole heck of a
If
lot.
we just keep the offenders down, then we wouldn't have.
That's always, that would help, always helps. Other than that, you know, I think Mr. Sheepak, you know, he's county attorney, he comes down here and they seem to be getting along. Him and Judge Walters work closer together because a lot of misdemeanor type, juvenile type things. They do quite a bit of that. Other than that, that's what we'd be requesting. Just trying to think overall, not a whole heck of a lot going out, going heck of a lot. Excuse me. I was gonna say, you know, we talked, I came down and Judge Walters and I both talked to you. They didn't do anything in regard, the legislature didn't get anything one way or the other in regards to changing the court system or magistrates or Supreme Court handling that. That's probably put off for another year or two.
Is the fight not over, or is it?
I don't, you know, that comes up every year.
I see.
I just think, you know, I noticed the redistricting came out, you know, the federal judges redistrict and you got new, so I don't know what, I don't even know, I haven't looked at it yet. I was gone this weekend, I don't know what it did to Stafford County or even, I saw Ruth Teichman basically kind of moved a little more west. Her stuff, I don't know who your
Rich's district is different.
You know, I mean, today at noon is date people had to file if you wanted to contest it or whatever, representatives. It's gonna be some kind of a change. You know, they hadn't done it for 10 years, so I suppose they need to get a change. There was a bigger shift to the urban. I noticed they gave them more representatives and senators toward Johnson County, just reading the Hutch paper. I still think that's why there'll continue to be a fight, because of the fact urban versus rural. And you get more people in urban with more votes, then it's probably going to come up again. I don't know if it'll be next year or not. Anyway, that's all
I see
we've got.
criminal cases are down from 2007, about 30% down. Had 100 then, it's down to 69 in 2011. That's good news.
Yeah. And I don't know what this year's is. You know, there was 7 and 8. I know 7 or 8. I think there was a big, that meth stuff was going on. A lot of people were using the rural counties trying to do stuff. And I think they jumped on that pretty good. And so now, of course, now you can make this mess anyway. You know, they keep making new ways to come up with do it in a house. You don't have to go to an old abandoned farm. You can do it in your basement. Of course, they blow up the basement about half.
Yeah, right.
Don't have to prosecute that.
That's right. Yeah, that's
Saves a little money.
I don't know, you guys have any questions or anything?
Did we get the ceiling issue just resolved
I don't know, I not.
in the courtroom?
In the courtroom, remember you brought us up there and showed us?
I don't know, did you ever have anybody work on the outside of the building, or?
Is the plaster still falling off?
No,
Must have been fixed. then.
must have been fixed.
Just us looking at it.
Yeah.
You got it resolved, don't fall down, huh?
We didn't do that.
Has it rained since
the
then?
side.
Not a whole lot, that's just the problem, it hasn't been raining.
No rain now.
Since April. I think the weathermen now say, what, Thursday chance of rain. I think about every 4 days, they just say, to keep everybody's hopes up. Well, okay.
All right, thanks,
Appreciate it. Thank you again.
Yep.
Have a good time, good year, and we'll talk to you next year about this time. All right. Thanks a lot.
See you guys.